Hello and welcome to Green Justice. This is the second part of Polyphonic Voices, translating climate change and sustainable development, in which we talk to KPU students about how they talk about nature and climate change and sustainable development in languages other than English. So enjoy, and a huge thanks again to all who participated.
Okay, so can you just let me know your name and what languages do you speak other than English?
So my name is Ripudaman Singh, and other than English, I also speak Hindi and Punjabi, and I'm starting to learn a little bit of French.
Okay, great. And what are you studying at KPU?
I'm currently enrolled in Associate of Arts in Psychology, and I'm almost done with my program.
Congratulations. The end is in sight, so you are looking, at the graduating soon.
That is correct. Yes.
Great. So what we're doing here today is talking to KPU students about how they understand or frame nature in languages other than English. So, because every language kind of positions humans in relationship to nature in slightly different ways. So what would be like a Punjabi term for nature? When you think about nature, how would you call that in Punjabi?
Well, in Punjabi, you could call it Vatavaran, like the environment. That means environment. But the exact, more accurate term for nature would be Kudrat.
Okay. And what's kind of implied by those two terms? Like what can you sort of say in what context they would be used, or what kinds of, like, what do they mean? Like, and can you give an example of how they would be used?
Yeah, sure. So when we say that if there's a mishappening, for example, and someone's relative passed away, and in English we'd say that it's a law of nature. What comes, it always goes. It's the same thing we say in Punjabi, that, or we could say it's a miracle of nature. In Punjabi, that would be Kudrat da Karishma. So yeah, and like people, to be more accurate, when I speak Punjabi, I mix in a few English words as well. So I wouldn't say I'm a really traditional Punjabi speaker. I'm more of a modern Punjabi speaker. So it's like a mixture of Hindi, Punjabi, English, and all that.
Because like there's like a blend of English and Punjabi words.
That's right.
Okay. So when you go out into nature, what kinds of words would you use to describe the feelings that you get from being in nature?
That's a tough question, because currently, if we talk about the modern era, and almost nobody puts any mind into what's around there. Everyone's totally focused on just surviving, earning money, going to work, getting high grades in college, university. And even myself, even though I consider myself as being really connected to nature, I would say I'm not that conscious. But whenever I do, I would say energy. Energy is the best term I would match with nature.
And what would be like the Punjabi word for energy? Or would you use English word, or would you use a Punjabi word?
I can use a Punjabi word. The Punjabi word for energy is Shakti.
Sorry, say that again. Shanti?
Shakti. Yeah, it's if you want to spell it in English, it would be like Shakti.
Okay.
So,
and what would be like some ways that you would use that term? Like would you say that, like, if you go to a party or you go to like a gathering, that it has good energy? Would you use that term, or would it be something that's more used in nature?
So the term Shakti is really closely relates to it really closely relates to spiritualism. It's a really spiritualistic word, and if I want to say in English that it's very tough to translate it.
But it's interesting. So that there's there's a spiritual connection there. So this word connects nature with a kind of spirituality.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. So in our culture, I would say Punjabi, Hindi, or overall in the traditional Indian culture, we really respect nature, but the modern era doesn't exactly. That's not the reality, but theoretically, we are always taught to respect nature because nature is a form of energy, and energy is something that flows in every single living being, and even non-living beings like rocks and stuff. Every single thing is energy. It's all made up of energy.
And so that word, I'm going to say it wrong. I think is Shakti.
Yeah, exactly.
Shakti. Okay. So that Shakti, that describes the energy that would flow through plants, animals, rocks, rivers, mountains, like all, yeah, everything.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. That's really great. And so then it's interesting though that you're saying that is a kind of like an older way of understanding that seems to be lost in more recent time or lost in the modern era. Is that you think?
Yeah, that's totally right. And I honestly, 100% feel that is correct. Because I want to share just a moment of my experience with it. I was really like feeling depressed and all that in the middle of my college years. I was at my, I think last semester, it was last semester, and I was totally run down, totally worn out. I was at my burnout stage. And my friend invited me to go hiking. And that was about the time my mom she always suggests me to always in the early morning between 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. Just go out, feel the nature, do some grounding exercises like walk barefoot on a natural grass ground, walk barefoot on soil. And that I would say helped me. And the hiking experience that my friend invited to, I don't know what happened. That night I couldn't even sleep with excitement. I had zero sleep. But somehow, I was even really tired, totally worn out in the car. I felt like I was gonna have the worst experience. But as soon as I hit the mountains, as soon as I touched the first tree, the first wood, I just felt some kind of energy. It's like some kind of current that felt inside me, and I was at the top of my group. I was like an hour ahead of my group going up, and 2 hours ahead of my group going coming down. I had that much energy in me, even with no sleep. When felt like I would just drop down and somehow die in the middle.
Right. So what I'm hearing you saying is that like nature and just being like in the forest and mountains, it's restorative. It's healing. It's got this energy that can kind of help heal.
Yes, exactly. For me, any kind of mental illness, any kind of anxiety, depression, and any kind of tiredness you feel, if you just take a moment, go out into the nature, try to connect physically, like just you either walk barefoot, try touching trees, try to feel the air, try to breathe in the air, feel the air all the way through your lungs, to your stomach, and try to visualize it flowing through your whole body. That's just more than enough to cover up for all the sleep that you've lost and everything. That really gives you a boost in the energy. And I think since we are made up of energy, there are also some saints that I've heard saying that science says humans need 6 to 8 hours of sleep daily, at least, or 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single day. And I believe that to be false. Somehow it could be correct, but scientifically. But if we check the Vedas, the ancient medicinal text, or if I say the ancient tradition of our ancestors, they do have a certain biological clock set up, but they also say that there were warriors who would barely sleep 3 hours or 2 hours during the battles. But what they did was between the battles, they would just lie on a bare ground without anything, without any sheets, without any pillows and stuff. Just lie on a bare grass, and that would be enough to recuperate all their energy. And they would just go back into battle totally rejuvenated and totally like back to 100% of their energy. So I think there's some truth into it.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's like, yeah, I think that opens up a whole other topic of conversation. But I think you're right to say that there's like a way of engaging with nature in it to sort of like, I don't know how to say it better than what you just said, but it's like restoring oneself and building oneself back up again, not necessarily through sleep, but through like the energy of nature.
So
Yeah.
like just to brief it up, I would say that We need to be more conscious. It's good to be self-aware, but it's even better to be aware of our connection with the nature. That really helps our living style. And one thing that I also have my own personal opinion on the modern technology, that how it affects the climate, how it totally is trying to dominate the environment, the climate. I think a much better sustainable way of technology would be something that a technology that would harmonize, that would have a mutualistic relationship with the nature.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely something that we need now for sure.
100%. That is something I totally dream of achieving. I'm not sure if I'm able to achieve it, but if somehow I can contribute to it in any way, I would be like really proud of myself.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. I think it is something that's kind of like bigger than any one individual, right? So it is something that we all need to be working on, and we can all hopefully do our own little bit, and then that can produce change in the long run.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this. This is
Thank you. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
All right. So could you begin by telling us your name?
It's Arpita.
Abada.
Yeah.
Okay. And you speak languages other than English?
So basically Hindi, Punjabi, and English. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
These three languages.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's
Yeah.
multilingual for sure. So what we're doing is asking how you talk about, well, nature, also climate change and sustainable development. Fact.
Basically sustainable development. Like nowadays, very like people are very aware. You want me to speak in Hindi to convey that to the Hindi people?
Yeah, and well, if you could tell us the word, the term in Hindi, that would be cool.
So it's basically, we call winter like Sardi.
Okay.
So basically in Sardi at that time, like it's now, right? This time in India, if I call, then this time is basically the winter time. But now,
Yes.
nowadays I can, like, whenever I talk to my parents, they tell that it's not winters. It's basically summer's going on.
Right.
Usually it should be winters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the climate change, there are like in here, if you talk about in Canada, there's same thing in India as well. They have like 4 climates.
Yeah.
So yeah. So for weather change, basically it's it's like it never knocks on your door. It just comes.
Oh, so it's
Exactly.
like it's more dramatic. The shift.
Yeah.
More dramatic.
Yeah. So
which is-
yeah, but if I talk about the rainy seasons, we have it, but it depends. It's monsoon basically.
Right.
It's different in different regions.
Yeah.
Like I'm basically from Punjab, and we don't have that much rain in that. Like if I compare with Vancouver, we don't have that much frequent rain. That it's raining every day here, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's basically barish ka mausam. Like everyone enjoys like this veggie samosas and stuff in there. And for sustainability, if I started actually sustainability in marketing as well. So basically, like nowadays, before we can say that no one was aware about that. Like we don't know that we are harming the nature by what we are wearing and what we are just buying stuff. But now I think everyone is quite aware that they should be using this type of material that it's not harming the nature, like the sustainable clothing. And even if we're eating something, we have to use the disposable stuff that is sustainable and it's good for environment, not like the plastic that is not good for environment. So yeah, they're developing and it's underdeveloping right now. So yeah,
Right.
Good.
So there is a consciousness around.
it is actually.
Like-
Because before you can say that there was no social media to make people aware of, but now we have this kind of resources that they know that, okay, this is not good and they should be doing this to protect the environment from such damage, right? Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good to hear. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
that's really interesting. Is there anything else you'd like to say about other terms? So it sounds like the terms are used in pretty much the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's same. If I talk about like in here, we have, because there are some countries that don't have the same type of weather. They're very cold or it's very hot in there.
Yeah.
Even like if I talk about in India, there are Mumbai in which
Yeah.
the weather is like throughout the year it's same weather.
Right.
There is like no as such you can say that a lot of heat there or a lot of like winters there. It's basically neutral all of the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think it's near the sea level, and that's the thing that makes changes that it goes neutral all over the year. Yeah.
Right. You have a monsoon season in the Punjab, or is that more south?
Yeah, we have it, but it's like not that much as compared to south
Yeah.
because it's more strong in south because it's near the sea, you
Yeah.
can say, right?
Yeah.
But in Punjab, it's not basically that much near to that.
Yeah.
But we do have, but it's not that frequent. Like if I compare it to Vancouver, like it's raining
Yeah.
every day, right? Almost every day. But there, it's basically, it comes for few days and it's like winters then. But we have like foggy weather and it's like sometimes it turns into zero visibility.
Oh, is that
Like you can't even see. Even in Delhi, it's like smoke plus fog, it's smog.
there's smog? Yeah.
Yeah, at that time.
Yeah.
And it's like, even for the aeroplanes, it's difficult to fly because it's zero visibility at that time. Yeah, there is such things like that. And for the snow, there is no snow in the Punjab, but in the other hilly areas we have.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I talk about like the winters, it's basically the fog and stuff. Then
Yeah.
there's no such rain. Yeah.
Right. Do you think those issues like the air pollution,
Yeah.
smog, and that environmental issues in general are improving, or do you think?
So basically, this kind of issues start like the smoke and stuff. It starts from the like when people burst out the crackers on Diwali. So the government is trying to take the measures to like decrease this kind of stuff as they're just putting ban on crackers or they're doing the limitation to that. But yeah, there are some people who don't follow the rules and stuff,
Yeah.
but there is still a punishment for them. But yeah, it will take time, but by the
Yeah.
time they will like be okay because now it's like very smoky there after
Yeah.
like Diwali. Or even there is like in Punjab, we basically burn out the whole land after we have to do the farming and stuff. That also causes like smoke sometimes.
Yeah.
No, it's almost times. But yeah, I think there are measures that taking that if we can't stop that things to happen, but we can do is that we can prevent that it doesn't cause any smog and stuff that is actually causing problems for people like who are old or for the children to like inhale the oxygen and stuff because they're inhaling a lot of smoke in them and it's not good for their health. So there are measures taken by the government to prevent this kind of stuff so that it's good for everyone to be like freely enjoy the environment and not getting asthma and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. That was super
You're
interesting.
welcome. Thank you.
Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you. Bye.
Bye.
So, what's your name?
My name's Lulu.
Okay. And what languages other than English do you speak?
I speak Indonesian as well and a dialect of the island of Java as well called Javanese. I learned some French as well and some Japanese as well. Yeah.
Wow. So you're truly multilingual. And so you speak Indonesian and also Javanese. So like two different languages from that area.
Yes, that's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
And how do you talk about nature in those languages? So like, can you give me the word, like what would be the word in Japanese for nature, for example?
I don't remember exactly for Javanese, but for Indonesian, probably be like, sorry, it doesn't come up to my head, unfortunately.
Sorry to put you on the spot like this, but it's like,
That's okay, but it does translate to like Mother Nature as well.
okay.
Like if to literally translate it to English, yeah.
And then what kind of like pronouns do you use for nature? Would you use like gendered pronouns, or do you use like in English, we talk about nature often as it. It's like, would you use something similar in Indonesian, or would you use gendered pronouns?
Indonesian doesn't really use gendered pronouns or verbs and such, so it's quite a neutral word in that aspect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then how do you refer to like plants and animals?
Plants and animals, again, quite neutral. There's not really like a feminine or masculine way of saying it. It's yeah.
Is climate change something that you talk about in Indonesian?
Yes, it's not really a major thing, but definitely there's signs of it happening in Indonesia as it's a tropical island archipelago. So then a lot of the symptoms of climate change are showing up there as like floods and rising temperatures and things like that.
Can you give me the Indonesian term for climate change?
Oh, I can't come up with it, unfortunately. Yeah, sorry about that.
So it's okay. So one of the things when you're talking about climate change in Indonesian, does it get talked about in the context of like humans being responsible? Like the human-induced climate change?
I would say yes. Yeah.
Great. So is there sort of a sense that humans can help solve climate change when you're talking about it in Indonesian, or is it kind of framed as something that's just happening out in there in nature and humans can't do anything about it?
I think it depends on the circles that I guess you talk to. I think with like among the scientific field, I guess, they talk about things how humans can repair, like how the coral reefs are suffering a lot in Indonesia. So then they come up with like coral reef farms to kind of bring it back up or things like that. But other circles, I think it's just kind of the way it is. People treat it as that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So probably there's a lot of diversity in terms of like how people understand it and how people talk about it, just as there is in Canada as well, I guess.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, enjoy your food.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Can I ask you, do you mind, like, how you talk about climate change or sustainable development in Punjabi? Like what the
ਆ ਅੱਜ ਮੌਸਮ ਵਧੀਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਮੀਂਹ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਅਲੱਗ-ਅਲੱਗ ਬਦਲਦਾ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਇਹ ਤੇ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਮਿੰਟ ਰੁਕੋ climate change okay if we talk about climate change in Punjabi we will speak like ਅੱਜ ਮੌਸਮ ਦਾ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਦੇ ਬਦਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਦੇ ਕੁਝ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ
Cool.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
Sure, feel free.
Okay. So one of the things that we're doing here is talking to KPU students about how nature is understood in their home languages. And when you came by the table earlier, you mentioned, you speak Ghanaian and you speak
Chi and
Chi. Okay. And how do you name nature in these languages?
Okay, should I speak in my home country or in
Yeah. You give us an example of how you would talk about nature in your home languages.
Okay. Talking about myself, my name is Constant, but Uba mi Chroma, Mekaso Milindi Constant, me free western part of Africa, Ghana. Ghana baby me free, western region. So western region, can't about nature. We have a lot of things that me Chroma ye free. We have culture. We talk about how we respect people. Ye be bu amanful, ye be bu impayinful. Mimi chrome, won't payini air kasa, won't me interrupting so say, even if paying why bonny and send your all canoe and toss so more. And one I want to mean cause nyawo can enter soon. But one thing I'm realizing what has said is say they are opinionated, but that is not how we were taught to be. Payini can say why I say a chain or kasa ria. If I'm to translate this in English, when an elderly person is talking, I don't need to interrupt. I just need to keep quiet till he or she finishes. And even if what he's saying is wrong, I can't tell him that what you're saying is wrong. I just need to keep quiet because we were trained to be respectful.
So does the respect that you were talking about that goes to elderly people, does that also go to nature?
Oh yeah, it does. It does. It generalizes everything to everything. In my home country, we are very respectful. And it's generalized to everything. Not like, okay, does that. No, it's cut across everything.
All right. Could you tell us your name?
My name is Darwin Kaur, and I'm the student of KPU. This is my third semester here.
Oh, great. Okay. And you were saying you speak languages other than English? Punja and Hindi. That's great. So we're asking students how they think about, how they talk about nature and then also climate change and sustainable development in their language, their home language. So could you tell us the specific words that you would use?
First of all, that's an interesting question. Yeah, I will talk in my native language. Yeah. ਸਾਡੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਲਾਈਮੇਟ ਵੈਦਰ ਚੇਂਜ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਲਾਈਕ ਵਾਤਾਵਰਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਲਾਈਕ 6 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਸਰਦੀ ਐਂਡ 6 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਗਰਮੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਬਟ ਇੱਥੇ ਲਾਈਕ ਜਸਟ 3 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਗਰਮੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਐਂਡ ਬਾਕੀ ਸਾਰਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਸਰਦੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਸਨੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਨੋ ਵੀ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਆ ਰਾਈਟ ਐਂਡ ਉੱਥੇ ਏਦਾਂ ਮੀਂਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਲਾਈਕ ਇੱਥੇ ਮੀਂਹ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਆ
Okay.
ਉੱਥੇ ਇੰਨੀ ਕੁਆਂਟੀਟੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਛੇਤੀ ਤੇ ਲਾਈਕ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ It's like ਹੁਣੇ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ within a minutes ਮੀਂਹ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ ਮੀਂਹ ਪੈਣ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਤੇਜ਼ ਬਟ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਨ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਏਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ like ਉੱਥੇ ਇੰਨਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮਿਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਗੀ ਐਂਡ ਇਵਨ ਲਾਈਕ ਇੱਥੇ ਮਾਊਂਟੇਨਸ ਟਾਈਪ ਆ ਲਾਈਕ ਇੱਥੇ ਪਲੇਨ ਲੈਂਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ
Okay.
ਯਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਲੇਨ ਲੈਂਡ ਵਾ ਲਾਈਕ ਪੱਧਰੀ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਵਾ
Okay. Okay. That sounded super cool. Can you give us the gist in English? Like what?
suggestion about the words
Sorry, like summarize what you just said
okay in English
in English. Yes.
Something like climate in my own country is like not like that. Like there are just 3 months of like there is just 3 months of winter and the rest 3 months of summer and the rest is like winter. But here they're like 6 months is winter and 6 months is summer. But their temperature is not decreased like that. Like there is just -2, 3 and -7, 8 degree also. But their temperature is something like just to the 1 degree.
Okay.
Yeah, and in summer, but the temperature is like 42 degrees, 43, 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the idea of the climate changing and changing as a result of human activity,
Yeah.
is that something that's prevalent? Like, do people talk about that? Like, whether we need to change how we live and what we do to halt that or slow it down? Or
Occupation of people like depend on the weather, right? There is mostly people doing jobs in corporations, like
Yeah.
as people who are doing like land or farming things.
Yeah.
But in my own country, there are most of the people doing farming.
Yeah.
According to the weather, like which crops is suitable according to that weather.
Yeah.
Like I think this is the main difference.
So in a way, people are more dependent, like they're more plugged into the weather, right? Because their livelihood depends on it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. So they're more conscious in a way. So, you think? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's super interesting. Anything else you'd like to say? Or?
I just say thank you to give me an opportunity to say my very
Yeah. No, well, thank you. That was super great. Thanks. You too. Hey.